friends, and welcome back to the More Than Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Angela Walter Hagen, and on this podcast, we model and live out Ephesians 3:20. Now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all you can ask or imagine, according to his power that is at work within us for all generations, because we want our life to impact eternity. My husband and I feel commissioned and compelled to actually walk that out and model it beside you. Today's episode is about dating. Dun dun dun. Okay, so let's be honest, there are a lot of feelings and emotions around dating, especially in the climate of the world today, which feels like the wild, wild west sometimes. It's risky, it's unpredictable, it's a bit scary. So why date? Are you ready to date? What's the purpose of dating? And can you really still live a more than mindset in the dating scene? Because my husband and I believe that you can have a more than mindset in the dating, and we actually got to walk that out and model that in our own lives, and we want to take you along that journey with us. Because ultimately, we believe that there's so much purpose behind dating that can lead to a more than marriage. Now, if you are not currently dating, or desire to date, or maybe you're like my husband and I and you're in a sweet season of marriage right now, this episode is still for you, because I truly believe that the principles that we're going to talk about during dating are still the healthy pillars that will help you make choices that lead you to a more than life, meaning that these are the pillars and the foundation for you making choices that can set you up for success. Healthy choices around choosing the right college, choosing a career, choosing the right job, handling healthy dynamics in family, and choosing ultimately your spouse. Pillars for healthy dating hold the same foundational principles for healthy choices. So listen up, all of my dating and non-dating people. 1, defining your goal, because goals fuel your decision. Setting your mind, eyes, and heart on things that are long-term vision, because once you know what your long-term vision is, that really fuels your healthy decisions to get there so that you don't get caught up in the weeds. Working on yourself. Okay, this is all of the time, whether you're single, dating, engaged, married, or if you're single forever. You will always want to be more concerned about the health of your personal state versus the person you are pursuing. God, what do you want to do in my heart? How are you refining me? What do I need to repent of? This is no matter what decision you're making, this is always your focus, is how can you be a better you? Building a rock solid foundation of who you are and your identity in Christ, because this is going to literally be the launch pad for all the decisions you make that will lead you to living a more than life. This also helps you fight for your character over your desires, and maintain your values over your preferences by being rooted in who you are and what you know you value, which is important in all stages of your life, because let's be honest, it can get a little messy, and knowing that your identity is rooted in Christ is what helps you create healthy decisions. Trusting God in the process. Oh my gosh, when a dream dies or fails, how do you still trust God in the messy in-between, and when you don't see the promise yet to come, and you can still believe He is best for you even when you don't know your next step, or when that promise feels really, really far away? No compromising. This is a big one, not just for dating, but for all decisions in your life. As you wait longer, you are going to be tempted to compromise easier. So how do we not compromise in the face of when the promise is not there? Maintaining your values over your preferences, and making sure that you stay true to your standards, to not please others and to not settle. And then going for it, being brave, being perseverant and patient to pursue the promise that you feel like God has put on your heart. So these are fundamental beliefs I believe will make your life a more than life, no matter if you're choosing your spouse or making a decision that will change the trajectory of your life. Staying hopeful in all situations. We know that Proverbs 13:12 says that hope deferred makes the heart sick. So how do we actually stay hopeful when the promise isn't yet here? So we were talking about all of these, and like I said, they are truly foundational for dating and healthy dating, but they make up pillars that are foundational for any life decision that you will make, and one day to support your healthy marriage. So before I go any further in this episode, let me tell you why this one's extra special to my heart, because I get to introduce to you my more than family, the man behind the scenes, my absolute best friend. I call him my miracle because he truly is, because against all odds, he is in my life and I'm in his. And God truly formed him to complement me and to be perfect for me. And that doesn't mean everything is perfect in our marriage, but it means that we complement each other to be more effective for God's calling on our life than we are together than apart. And that's what marriage is truly for. And I am surely more effective in everything that I do because this man has partnered beside me in all ways. So he is the love of my life and my best friend, Trevor Hagen. I'd like to welcome him onto the More Than podcast today. Come on over.
Hey, how's it going?
I can't believe you're actually on this because you're always just behind the scenes. Kudos and credit to him for putting together all of these edits, and hopefully I don't make it too hard for you, but he is truly amazing in everything that he does in social.
You're great at it. I am very nervous.
Honey, that's what I said on my first podcast. I said, I'm nervous. I told him, so it's good to just tell him that right off the bat.
I'm much better behind the camera than in front of the camera.
Well,
but it is
we'll
great
let them tell that after they hear your wisdom and they hear your heart, because this man is such a wealth of knowledge, such a wealth of wisdom, because you truly just sit before the Lord and hear from him. That's really the main reason I fell in love with you, was because you have that heart. And so you guys are going to learn so much from this man and the way that we dated, and the way that I'm so proud of the way that we dated and the way that you led in dating with me, because it ultimately led to a really healthy dating that led to a beautiful engagement season and a beautiful marriage. And so we want to model that.
Favorite story.
It is my favorite love story too. So I thought it was only right to have you on here, because I can't talk about dating without talking to the person that I dated most. And we truly did model it with a more than mindset. And I believe that that's not just for us. I believe that the enemy would like to say that dating is just frivolous, or it doesn't mean that much, or it doesn't matter that much. But we know that if it's meant to end with the purpose of marriage, that it's the most important thing you could do, I believe, after accepting Christ into your heart, is picking the person you're going to run your race with, and run your race with well.
Right.
And so I love acronyms.
Yes, you do.
You love analogies.
I do.
And so with that, we are going to make it super easy for you to remember why the dating pillars are something you can keep in your mind as you go to date. I love words growing up. Well, you know this, but mom would always make acronyms for me when I was studying so that I could remember things. And it was a way that I could just remember a word and then think of the words that go with it. So we're going to make it easy for you so that you can remember this. These are the pillars of dating. Okay. We're going to run through them.
Okay.
This will help you get to a more than marriage. I love you. Okay, defining your goal. So D is defining your goal.
Define your goal.
Because your goal helps fuel your decisions.
Okay.
2 is aim. Aim. Aim to be the right person, not find the right person. Huge.
I like that. Aim to be. You don't necessarily have to be perfect right away. There's a lot of pruning and molding and there's a lot.
Always becoming.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the sanctification process, is becoming more like Christ every day. So you're always aiming.
But we'll get into that later.
Yeah, well, actually, you bring up a really good point, because aiming is not just while you're dating. You're always aiming to be the right person. I am as your wife. It doesn't stop at
the wedding day. Yeah.
Yeah, right. I am as your wife. You do that every day. I see you do that as a husband, is trying to be the best husband.
While you date, you should, practice aiming every day, because once it's almost like it's all practice, and then the real game starts. After you're married.
Game.
Yeah.
It's the pregame to the real game.
Exactly.
But that's so true, because you bring up another point, and that is the fact that we kept saying we're going to concentrate more on our marriage than our wedding day.
Yep.
The world can be so consumed with what our wedding day looks like, and we said we want to be more consumed with what our marriage is going to look like, because that is what actually matters once everybody goes home on your wedding night.
Yeah.
Yep. 3 is T, so you're staying with us with dating. T is trust God in the process. Even when a dream dies or fails.
Yes.
We both are going to talk about that when that dream died or failed for us in our dating experiences, where we felt when will this happen? Will it ever happen?
It's not going to happen. For me.
That's what you thought. And I felt, really hopeless for a moment too. And then look at we're literally the promise sitting here together saying we're going to get into all of that. I is invest in friendship first.
That's a good one.
You did that. Very amazing.
Important. Yep.
Because you're my best friend.
Yeah.
And that is foundational to our marriage today. You're the person that we do all the things that aren't glamorous, like taxes and, late nights, schoolwork being sick
and got over being sick.
So messy sicknesses. But you're my best friend. And so building the friendship is.
Wouldn't rather have it with anyone else. So.
Me too.
Yeah.
Okay. No compromising. N in dating.
Okay.
No compromising.
In which way?
Oh my gosh, so many ways. I feel like it gets easier to compromise the longer you wait too, because you're like, you start to squint a little bit and tilt your head and you're like, well, that could work. Maybe it couldn't have worked 3 years ago, 5 years ago, but now it can because we get more desperate. So compromising standards, beliefs, values.
Yeah, I think that goes with defining your goals. Don't compromise those goals. Those beliefs.
Right.
Yeah.
It goes back to defining your goal, which if everything doesn't aim back to your goal, if you don't have a goal, it gets so easy to compromise because then you're like, well, if it's just for my own self gratification or self pleasing, like this person's super fun.
Yeah, fun.
But like, I don't care if they're fun if they compromise what I actually believe in and they're making me not uphold my character.
You talked a little bit about that last episode, being single. That kind of helps. You have to define a goal first. You have to have a goal first. You know, you don't just jump into dating.
And I think that too, like the culture, especially today, is so easy to please others. Like you just want to please others and you want to make others happy. And so you can even do that in a dating relationship just to make that other person happy.
It's ironic. I mean, if you really go into it, people pleasing is like the number one thing out there that people struggle with
right now. Yeah.
And yet when it comes to dating or marriage or any type of relationship, we always tend to put ourselves first. So it's like, at what point?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Because people can really, I think, feel both of those extremes. So you may be in one of those camps where you're like, I'm in this relationship to feel good for myself, and the minute that this person is like, oh, I'm checking them off the list,
right,
because they don't like to hike with me or whatever. Or you could go the opposite way and be like, I'm going to bend everything I am because I just want affirmation from this person. So we have to balance those things. And we're going to get more into the weeds of that. And then G, if you're staying with us in the acronym, because we got a little bit, we have just so much to share with you guys. So stay with us. Especially now that it's 2 of us. I feel like this could be broken up into 4 different episodes.
Yeah, we're in trouble.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Let me fix your necklace.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Go for it. G, go for it. Meaning putting yourself out there, because dating can be vulnerable, scary.
Yeah.
Hang in there, have patience. If we know what we're aiming towards, if we know our goal, we're setting our mind and eyes and heart on the long-term vision, so we can kind of go for it and put ourselves out there. Because
not just that, but take initiative too. Going for it, taking initiative, being bold.
Huge.
More so for the men. I mean, women too, but for the men to take that initiative for sure. Yeah.
I think that men need to hear that. I think that we need to give them permission to feel like they can take initiative in dating relationships. And women, we can feel confident to, drop the hanky and give our men some confidence to pursue us, because we can also give the nods of, hey, I am interested. And then that gives them the confidence to initiate, to ask, to be clear. We get into all that because you did that so well. And that's one of the main reasons why we started dating. Oh, I love this because there's so much to talk about. Okay, so we're going to unpack these a little bit deeper. So we went into our dating, right? So if you're with us, go back to define goal, because your goal fuels your decisions.
What was your goal?
So my goal for dating was, I knew I wanted to be married. I knew that I wanted to be in a marriage. I knew that I was a career woman going after my career. I knew that I could be successful on my own. I knew that I could reach my goals on my own, right? Yep. And in a culture where it's like, hey, get your career checked off before you get married, the Bible tells us that marriage is meant so that you come together to be more effective together than you are apart. So I knew in my heart I always wanted to be married. Like the desire for you was always there, but it was just God's timing. And so I wasn't like, oh man, I need a man, I'm bored. Like I was going to school, I was very focused, I was working hard, but the desire was always there. So I also was super busy. And so I was like, I don't got time to date just for the fun of it. Like if I'm going to be dating, it's because I'm pursuing marriage intentionally. And so I knew any relationship I was getting into to date was for the purpose and goal of, I want to spend the rest of my life with this person. I want to join and create and build a life together that is more effective, that is more purposeful for the kingdom of God, right? If we're talking about living a more than life, I want a more than marriage that's going to ripple through eternity better with this man beside me than I could on my own single. Right. And so with that being said, my goal, which I believe you have to define your goal for dating, is to say, hey, God created marriage in order to glorify him more and be more effective than you can be apart. And so that was my goal. And so that really changed my viewpoint of dating, because it wasn't just like, hey, I want somebody to hang out with while I'm studying or take the pressure off me while I'm studying, because I didn't have time for that.
It's a long-term goal. It's something that you have to work hard to get. It can't. So when you define your goal, you can't just define, a short-term, in the moment type of goal,
because that can go off of your feelings, and a lot can feel good in the moment but not support your long-term goal.
Exactly.
Like, I've met some 18-year-olds that are more ready for marriage than some 35-year-olds.
Right.
And that all has to do with their maturity and their goal of, what am I actually getting into relationship with this person for?
No, it's obviously too, age isn't the only factor.
Of course.
If we only met when we were close to 30, 28. So it's all about God's timing, I would say, more than anything. And he writes the best love stories, guys. So, the way he wrote ours, oh man. Let that be proof.
I think that we're going to do a whole episode just on our love story, because we're giving really good practical advice, and you'll hear bits and pieces of our love story. Yeah. But I feel like we're just going to have to do a whole episode, because there's so much.
I might be biased, but it's better than something like Disney could come up with,
Or Nicholas Sparks.
Or, I think I'm biased too. We love that stuff, but But I
will say God writes the best love stories. Okay, so honey, tell me then, what are good reasons not to date? If I just define the goal.
Okay.
Why I dated, why I pursued, why I put myself out there, because it was uncomfortable to date, honestly.
Right.
I wanted marriage, but I didn't love the idea of dating, because it was uncomfortable. And it was a lot of emotional expense. But what are good reasons not to date?
Not to date somebody? Wow. I would say, like we talked about before, going off your emotions, right? So if you feel lonely, that's, not necessarily the best time to date. Just because you feel lonely, right? Or if you're bored, that's probably the worst time to date, because there's so many other activities you can, dating is not an activity. Let's just put it that way. You want to be intentional with it, and you want to build something out of it. So to have it be an activity where you can put it aside when you're, no longer interested in it, that doesn't make sense. So that, I know the world is caught up in that kind of type of dating, but that definitely is not the way.
And I would even add to that, the emotional risk of what it takes to actually date someone far outweighs the relational reward when you're just dating for fun. Yeah. You know what I mean? Relationships take so much work, and when you actually end up getting intertwined with that person emotionally, you are giving them a lot of your time, energy, resourcefulness. It takes your focus off of whatever your calling or your career is when it's wrong in a bad way. Now, when it's right, it's beautiful, and it's so worth the emotional investment and cost, because you're building something, you're building towards the goal, of marriage, of forming a life together that's effective and, better. But when it's not, when you're just hey, I just want a +1 to go out with and hang out with on the weekends.
Well, you can't just make it a hobby, because there's other hobbies you can do that are,
life building.
There's so much more things you can do out there. Take up a hobby if you're bored, or even lonely, really. There's other things.
And go to God to fill that versus that person, because that will always end in a dumpster fire.
Yeah, you can't rely, if you have an empty, a hole in your life or something like that, you can't really fill it with someone else. You really have to let God heal if there's wounds there before you can start building a life with someone.
I know that was something we talked about while we dated, that you had previously, prior to me, had some of those moments where you tried that.
Yeah, for me, before we met, oh man, it seems like there was not a time before I knew you, but
I don't think so either. Now that I think about it, I just think I've known you my whole life, but real. I guess there was a moment where I didn't know you. My heart always knew you.
I would say that was me, actually. If I could be, vulnerable with you guys, that was me before we met. Honestly, before we met, I was struggling with defining that goal, right? I was struggling with being myself, finding someone for me. I'd put myself out there. I'd try to date somebody, and I just ended up feeling emptier on the inside every single time.
Yeah. And I think it goes back to you trying to fill that void because you were lonelier, because you wanted love and affirmation and you were seeking them in those relationships.
Right, exactly.
And so that's where once you got that from God, you were able to actually go into a relationship healthy.
Right.
And so
it wasn't until then.
It wasn't until then. And so defining your goal, huge. Knowing why you're actually going into this relationship, because it's a lot of work and we don't want to be going into something that's a lot of work for our own selfish gain that will end in, like I said, a dumpster fire in a way that you're emptier on the other side of it, because all of those relationships did end with you feeling emptier on the other side. But it's when we define our goal and we know what we're going into it purposefully for. And will you just take a moment right now and will you just subscribe and like so that this message can reach farther and wider, because we know that there are so many people beyond you that need to hear this message about more than dating. So tracking with us, we're on to A. Only A. We're on to
A.
Aiming to be the right person. But this goes right back into what you were saying, is that we have to first be the right person, meaning we have to work on ourselves.
Right.
And this is a continual thing that goes on forever.
Right back to what we were saying,
if you're dating, single, engaged, or married, that we continue every single day to work on who we are, because that is what really maintains your values. It helps you fight for your character over what feels good and what you desire in the moment.
And I think the best thing too, it's not like self-help or self-improvement only. It's about leaning in and learning more about who God says you are.
Yeah.
And that's the true essence of growth, because we can formulate any opinion about ourselves and try to grow out of that strand. And it takes us to all different corners of life, but they're dead corners in the end. So drawing near to God and He will draw near to you is a verse that is so vital in my life, and it goes back to that.
Everything. Yeah. And for us, that was really huge, because you could explain this better than me, because you knew me before I knew you.
Yeah.
But
it's kind of crazy, but I knew you. I mean, where do you start? We went to the same pool together.
You always bring up the pool. I never went to that pool the same time as you did.
I remember you were at the pool and the Band-Aid.
Oh my God.
The Band-Aid, it came off and it floated right past me.
Oh my gosh. It wasn't my Band-Aid. Let's just be clear.
I'm kidding.
He's so descriptive.
No, but I mean, we went to the same school.
We crossed paths a lot.
We went to the same school. We went to the same church. You in late teens, young 20s, you hosted a Bible study and I was in it.
I promise you. I still don't believe you were in that Bible study, but I don't remember you.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah.
What do you remember about me?
You were passionate. You were vibrant, loud, but in a good way. You know what I mean? Like, I was just like, you ever just meet
Doesn't sound like me at all.
You ever meet someone and you're just like drawn in? You know, it's like I was like, this is probably a terrible analogy and you'll be upset about it later, but I was like a moth and you were like that light, you know, that blue light.
Oh, that you were attracted to me?
Right, I just like flew right in.
Oh my God.
That's probably terrible.
I told you he likes analogies. I love it. But I didn't. I just zapped you with my love.
But yeah, I mean, I knew you. I knew of you. I knew of you. I didn't necessarily know you. We never got a chance to speak. You didn't know who I was.
Well, and to be fair, you were a lot quieter than me.
I was very introverted. I'm still am, but I guess you've brought more out of me.
I think you're extroverted now.
For those that know us nowadays, you've brought it out of me. But I mean, that's what marriage does.
Yeah, exactly. It makes us
makes you better.
It makes us better. Social. You're so social now.
I was a big introvert, and I had a lot of other mental health issues as well. So I was struggling a lot. So I mean,
that goes back to God's timing.
Exactly.
And the fact that we were ships passing in the night in so many ways. And that
you were the lighthouse and I was just...
Oh my gosh. Honey.
So.
The fact is that it does go back to God's perfect timing, because we were ships passing in the night, but through that we ended up following each other on social media, on Instagram.
That's it.
And it wasn't until like a decade later, when we were like, what were we, 27 or 28, and we like followed each other from like 17 years old. I don't really remember being on your social media, but on that particular day, years later, you posted a little photo or a video of you dancing.
Yeah, I was on family
with
vacation.
Your niece.
I was dancing with my niece. Just like a 20-second video.
And I thought the kid was cute. So shout out to Margot, who was a flower girl at our wedding, for starting our love story.
She danced at the wedding. So
I liked that, or I hearted it, and then
you liked it, and I was like, oh, okay. Good enough for me to pursue that,
then you, what do the kids call it? Slid into the DMs.
Slid into the DMs.
Yeah, you were like, that's all I needed.
Sounds really bad, but
now with that though, it does go back to being the right person, because I believe if we truly were to meet a few years prior to that, back when we were in our teen years, it wasn't the right timing for what God needed to do in both of our hearts separately.
I had a lot of things God had to work out in me, that I had to work through. So looking back on it, again, as part of the beautiful love story that he writes, we were ships passing in the night, so you say, but it just wasn't that perfect timing.
Yeah, and
then
for me
it finally was.
For me too, God developed me as a woman of God in ways I truly don't believe I could have been for me and my story. The things I needed to work through in my own singleness.
Yeah.
And so when you messaged me, it was able to unfold this beautiful love story where we were both at the right time to meet each other and then make each other better.
Yeah.
And so this goes back to focusing on being the right person. And that continues on into our marriage, because I see you every single day search your heart to go before God and to say, how can I be a better husband, a better man? How can I love her like you? And that is truly a constantly becoming, because if I just focused on you, then I would never be able to focus on what God is doing in my heart. And that's what makes the marriage so beautiful, is focusing on ourselves.
Well, it's 100-100, I guess, but
it's 100-100.
You're exactly right. But we'll get into that with the marriage. But I mean, it's even in dating, that's the pregame, like we talked about earlier. My job, my goal, define your goals. My goal was to make you the happiest I could make you. And not in a fake way, not in a superficial way, by just like presents and gifts and that, but genuine, taking care of every need that you might have, making you laugh. A big thing with our dating was dancing everywhere. I mean, we would be in the middle of where were we at, in Lidditz or something? We're in the middle of like this weird pawn shop, and I just like started dancing with you. It was crazy.
It was like a little creepy of a pawn shop. Yeah, so you made it beautiful. That's grocery stores. Yeah. But what you would always tell me is really we were dating. I think it was after we were engaged. You told me you would pray to God every day, like, God, help me love her like you.
Yep.
Help me love her like you. And that manifested in,
show me how to love
in
her
those ways. Show me how to love her the way you love her. And those manifested in those ways of being intentional and clear and just lavishing me with God's biblical love. So with that, you said something really beautiful the other day that I wrote down because you said it so well. So I'll just either say it for you or you can repeat it. But you said, we were talking on the way home from our Valentine's weekend.
Okay.
And you said, be a man of God before you start dating, because God isn't going to hand you the woman of your dreams on a silver platter until you are ready to take care of her as his daughter.
Right. Yeah.
And I just thought that was so beautiful, because it's like, if you think of God as the best father, which he is, as the King of Kings, and he has his daughter as a princess, he wants to hand her over to somebody he can trust.
Right. I mean, you want to be, for the men out there, you want to be a prince before you take the princess's hand. I mean, it's just, I know it's an analogy that's like, timeless and all that, but honestly, if you just break it down, you have to be in here, and in here you have to be ready. It's the difference of a boy and a man, really. It really is. And God has everything to do with it. So
that's so good. So T, we are on to T in our dating. Trusting God in the process. Good thing the last ones are a little bit shorter. Trusting God in the process.
And we kind of hit this already.
And this is even when the dream dies or the dream fails, because he knows what's best for you. And dating is hard and it gets messy in today's landscape, especially with technology. Let's face it, it's like the wild, wild west out there. Dating apps. Who here has done a dating app / is on a dating app right now?
Yep.
Opening yourself
Not
up.
Right now.
Right. I mean, I'm not raising my... Anyway, okay, so trusting God when it gets messy, when the dream dies or the dream fails. So this is really important for any really important decision that we're making. When we feel like the dream has died or failed, it can get harder to trust God in the process. And dating is so hard to begin with.
Yeah.
Dating is hard no matter what, let alone in the technology landscape that we have, because that's entered a whole new element where it's no longer just the people in your community that you trust down the street. Like, it's not like, oh, I know this person from like my best friend's aunt's cousin's bridal shower and I met them now and they have like somebody can vie for them.
Right.
You're on a technology scale where you can be meeting people all across the country, all across the world. And so you're really like vetting these people from being a complete and total stranger. So there's a vulnerability with it that's terrifying. It can feel like you're in the wild, wild west when you're having a pool of people that you're constantly just scrolling and trying to figure out, are they trustworthy? Are they not? Is this person for me? It creates higher stakes than ever before, and you feel more saturated with competition than ever before.
It really deteriorates something in your brain too, when you're just, it's like animatronic. You're just, is that the right word, animatronic? Yeah. You're just kind of swiping left or right.
Yeah.
And you're not even, it really becomes animalistic. Is that the word?
Oh, it could feel robotic. Maybe robotic.
Something, whatever those words are all together. That's exactly how it could be. And dating's harder than ever, I would say.
Well, for both of us, we both have our own stories regarding being online dating.
Dating apps, yeah.
However, this is something...
Should I share mine?
Oh, yeah. After you ask, you have to now.
I guess so, yeah. So, I mean, we've had... we both have used the dating apps previously. One story that sticks out to me is, my buddy and I were on the dating app, and we were, he had his profile, and he was swiping, and he matched with someone, and they wanted to do like a double date or something like that, and so he's like, all right, let's go. And I was like, all right, we'll do it. And we decided to meet at like a park, which is, I guess fun. I guess this is terrible, but we went to the park, and I remember we pulled up in his truck, and we're just sitting there, and then the girls say, all right, we're here. And then we got catfished, essentially, is what happened.
Sometimes it's better if I don't know these stories.
The one girl got out, and she was hobbling on crutches, and not that crutches are catfishing, but like that was like, all right, maybe you need to again set a goal and heal before you start dating someone. I'm just saying. I mean, but then the other girl was
nothing like her picture, which goes into feeling like.
So for us, we were just kind of like, oh, okay, and. Again, in hindsight, probably not the best decision, but we were just like, hey, I'm sorry we can't make it. We just like drove off real quick.
Well, and that goes back to, I think, the pressure around what you feel like on dating apps you have to present, because somebody is judging you based off of a few photos. Like, I remember looking at guys' photos and being like, are these 4 different men in one profile? Like, will the real person stand up?
Right.
We're like judging. No. We're judging people off of their income, their profession. What do they hike or not? Like all these things that are really materialistic, like at the end of the day, that don't actually matter. And so I remember for me when it makes
it a lot harder. There's so many, let's call them filters. There's so many filters and parameters set around finding your person. Same thing if you enter any search box and you put all these filters in, it's going to make it a lot harder narrowing that playing field.
And so this is where it could get messy, and I think that people could feel really hopeless. And we're not saying that dating apps are right or wrong. Like, we clearly use them. And I would really say it's a personal decision between you and God. So pray about it. If you feel peace about it. I remember there were seasons where I would feel peace, and I'd feel like, well, I got to do something. I got to put myself out there. Now, I'm a really super social person, as you already said. So I was like in every young adult Bible study and would go to worship nights, and I was in, the dental world. So I'd go to conferences conferences, like I was around.
There's like speed dating things too or something.
People, right? No, that was a conference. It was a Christian conference. It was kind of like that, but not really.
I always wanted to try that before.
I put myself out there.
Not anymore, but.
I put myself out there. That was the point.
We should go.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, we should go.
To a speed date.
Like we should pretend we don't know each other and then just like do a speed date. I never did one. I want to see what it's like.
And then what if we sat down and pretended like we were just like dating again? Yeah. Well, anyway, we've diverted. So the point is that we're saying that we have to trust God in the messy middle because dating can get super messy. Well, what I was saying about apps was that you really have to feel peace about it. I remember feeling peace about going on, and then I would feel like I was getting hopeless, and then I just felt like it wasn't the right time for me, and I'd get off for a few months because I felt like my hope was actually deferred. And so I would go off and I'd just spend more time with God, and I felt that hope stir up again. And so this is a personal decision for you, whether you go on or off. I remember there was a specific time, actually the fall before I met you, where I dated a guy, just a few dates. And I thought in the beginning, oh, okay, this really looks like it could be something. And I remember just that hope stirring was like so hope-filled that when that ended, it wasn't that I was attached to that person and I didn't know him enough, but it was the idea of it's not happening.
Promise, yeah.
The promise felt deferred again. And so that was a moment where I had to go back to God to say, God, it's not happening now, but I still trust you for the promise that is to come. I still trust that you have the perfect person for me. And if it wasn't him, then I know that it is worth waiting for. And man, was it worth waiting for. Like, thank God I didn't let that hope deferred make me sick to just stop trying. Because look at where we are now and look at what God has for us.
Yeah.
So 4 is invest. This is the I. Invest in friendship first with this person. Because like we said, you will be best friends for the rest of your life. Invest in friendship and keep the physical out of it.
Yes.
Or it is like game over, because there are a lot of attractive people in the world, and it could be easy to be like, oh, I'm attracted to this person. Great. Then we can be intimate. And if we don't put our emotional intimacy above our physical intimacy, it can make the waters murky so quickly.
And it's hard too. I mean, when we're all out there kind of searching for our person, searching for love, acceptance, all that stuff, it gets challenging because so much of society nowadays pushes the physical before the emotional.
And puts the higher value on that.
Right.
But we know that what is more important is the fact that you will fall in love with this person on the level that actually matters, meaning your friendship, your core values, the parts of your life that you're going to build on for your future, for your children, for your future callings. Yeah. And so the rest of that will fall into line when you are pursuing that person and you fall in love with who they are and their character. Guys, the intimacy part, the physical part that comes after that is so much better when you fall in love with them emotionally.
Like for me, like I
was going to say, no, you
all right. So for us, I mean, when we first started to
That's what I was going to say.
And I won't get too into it. We'll share the story, the main parts of it for the other episodes.
Our love story episode.
Basically, we were just friends and we just talked and I'll share a little bit. God told me, I'd never opened up to anybody before, and God really told me, like, hey, you can trust her, open up. So I did. It took some hard pushing and back and forth with God, wrestling with that. But I opened up to you, and we had these powerful, deep conversations about things that truly mattered, things we actually felt, hard topics to talk about, and we were just friends. We weren't talking in a way where it was like, oh, I wonder if they like me. Oh, I wonder if they like me back. That's not that it's superficial, but like we didn't care about that at that moment. We were just trying to invest and honestly build something there that we could trust each other.
And I think what was special about our early beginnings was you did live in Virginia at the time, and so that actually created a lot of safety in our relationship at first, because we were just on phone calls. So it allowed for hours and hours and hours
of phone
calls.
You didn't know what I looked like.
I was just hoping for the best. No, I stalked your Instagram like crazy. I was like, who is this person? No, but that created so many deep conversations, and I remember actually journaling right before I met you. Because we can make lists in our minds. Oh, what we want this person. We want this person to like certain things, and we want them to like hiking, and we want them to be adventurous. We want them to go to the gym 5 days a week. Whatever. Like women especially, like, you have your list, whatever salary bracket you're in. I remember
guys' lists tend to be a lot shorter. You know, it's like, oh, I hope they like me. You know what I mean? That's about as far as we go, which is a testament. You liked the photo, and there we go.
Well, I remember getting later in my, more mature, again, God making me the right woman.
Yep.
And I remember really stripping that list down and taking away all the superficial things. And I was like, God, at the end of the day, I need his heart to love you.
Right.
I need his heart to really say, matters, God, search me and know my heart. Like, I needed a man that had a God-sized heart and a heart like David's that was a heart after God's. Right. And I remember stripping it all down. And I remember actually journaling and saying, God, I don't even care what his favorite color is. Like, I just need to know that his heart is for you, that his heart will love me like yours.
Yep.
And I remember that after months of us dating, I remember you actually told me this. You were like, Angela, I don't even know what your favorite color is. And it was just like this nod from God and this kiss from him, because I do kind of remember getting so deep. I knew what it was,
but not officially.
Right. Well, because I think it was just a testament to us asking each other the deep, hard questions that we can stir away from.
But
it built this beautiful foundation where it created safety, so that when we started figuring out the fun details of our life, that was fun and that was romantic, because we had safety knowing, hey, we actually care about each other and we match on a core deep level basis.
And that's what so many relationships nowadays miss, is that initial foundation of building something. Because if you're just going back and forth, I call it ping-ponging. If you're ping-ponging, and I'm guilty of it, I ping-ponged before. But if you're ping-ponging fun stuff, ideas, hobbies,
because you can fall for that. Like, there's a lot of interesting people out there. But you could be like, oh, I like this person a lot just because of that.
So many relationships end feeling flat, and how easy it is then when you break up with someone, how easy it is to just move on to something else, because you never had something in the first place. No foundation.
Or I'll add to that if you end up connecting on all these superficial things and then add the intimacy part, the physical, then all of a sudden when you go to break up with them, because now months in you're talking about the deep stuff and you realize you guys don't match, now you are so emotionally invested, because you're like, well, now I have all these memories with this person. Oh, I'm physically intimate with them. Now I have to pull apart this attachment with that person, where you're like, instead talk about what really matters, and then you can build safety, and then the fun stuff just fills in the gaps.
Now, we're not saying just go willy-nilly and meet a stranger and just open up about everything.
Right, especially not in the online dating world.
Oh, yes. You have to use some discernment there. You have to, trust God. God is a big factor. Again, like I said, I wasn't telling you anything until God's like, hey,
and God released you of that.
I was like, okay.
And on my end, my prayer, and on my end, this is how God works, though. God released you and said, trust her. Tell her. But God was telling me, like, Angela, ask the hard stuff, like, because you need to know his true heart.
Get to know his heart.
And so I would ask and you would share. And so, what we're telling you is, don't just like bare your soul to a stranger. Follow the Holy Spirit and what he's telling you to do. Pray to God and follow the peace with that person.
That's right.
So we're on to N. We have two more.
Okay.
No compromising your standards or your beliefs. And we touched on this a little bit, but I would advise you make a list of non-negotiables.
Yes.
Non-negotiables. When you start dating, it can get really, really fuzzy. But if you have your non-negotiables, and these are the things, like I said, like, have a heart that seeks God first. That was a non-negotiable for me. That will put family above other things. That was a non-negotiable for me. My family is everything to me. So I was like, I need this man to love my family. Non-negotiable.
A non-negotiable for me, have a heart of worship. And self-explanatory, I would assume. And
you would tell me early on that you loved how grateful I was and how much I appreciated
not just worship things. Worship time, but even so worship of gratitude. And the faith that you had in bad circumstances. Even, it could be raining and you're looking for a rainbow. You're not looking for an umbrella. Which again ties into our actual story. Which will be in our love story. That's exactly who you were, and
a big non-negotiable for me was being humble. And I knew that if a man was humble and he would go before God and say, "Search me," he would be quick to forgive.
That took some pruning on my part. Which again is a non-negotiable, but you knew it was there. You knew the willingness and the heart of the humility was there, and that's the difference.
And that's so good to say, because it's not like I met you and I was like, oh my gosh, he's perfect.
Because
it was like I saw a heart willing and I saw a heart that was quick to say sorry.
Quick to apologize.
Quick to say, hey, if I messed up, let me go to prayer and come back to you on this and figure out what is in my heart that needs changed.
Yep.
Pure of heart. I wanted a man to lead me sexually, a man that would protect my body.
Let's get into that. Yeah.
That's going to be a whole nother episode, but a man that would lead me. No. I mean, say what you want to say about it.
I mean, yeah, that probably takes a whole episode to be honest, but that's a big one.
You led in that. Yeah. Because going back to in the fall, I dated a guy that at first looked like he told me he was Christian. And I was like, oh, okay, he's Christian. And then he started telling me the things I wanted to hear, but his actions did not align with that. So that's also a huge one. Just because they say they're Christian, the fruit of who they are will speak to actually how their lifestyle is.
Always look at the fruit.
And so that particular person. What we
mean by that is look at the behind the scenes, if that makes sense. Like whatever they're putting up front, that's great. But what's underlying? What's behind the scenes? When there's not a lot of time, if they're anxious or angry, or like how do they react in those type of situations?
Or when you're alone and private with them.
Right.
Or, you're spending time with them and then you really ask hard questions and then you see what they do.
If you have the discernment and you pray about it, God's going to reveal it.
Well, that's what I was going to say. God was so faithful to reveal that with that previous relationship because he was somebody that told me everything I wanted to hear sexually prior. And then when the rubber hit the road, I was like, oh my gosh, he's actually not leading me in any of those ways. And he's pushing boundaries that I didn't want pushed.
Gotta get out of that.
And so I got, get out of that pickup truck. Oh my gosh, honey. Somebody's going to quote that. Okay. So yeah, non-negotiables, write these down. I remember something that was a early on non-negotiable that God changed in my heart because my mom was like, no military. Because she was like, I don't want you to live a lifestyle that is really, but you know what? I released a lot of that list and thank God my mother's a praying woman too, because I met a man and fell in love with a man that God gave me all the green lights for, who's in the military. Yeah. And that is something that God, again, we'll unpack during our whole love story episode, but that is something that I took off the non-negotiable list because I realized career, salary, these types of things, lifestyle, those are the superficial things. But like when I fell in love with your heart and God gave me the green lights on your heart, that's the part that he just worked into our love story. So I took that off the list. So ladies and men, really go to your list and pray about what are the non-negotiables and what are the preferences that I've made a non-negotiable that shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what's going to help you live a more than mindset while you're dating.
Okay.
And then 6G, go for it.
Go for it.
Be brave. We said that dating is scary, it's vulnerable, but if you really feel like God is calling you to marriage and you really feel like God is calling you to a relationship that you can be with somebody that will make you more effective for the kingdom and the call together than apart, then you have to have some bravery to put yourself out there, to be bold, to slide into the DMs, to pursue and to be vulnerable, to share.
Well, to share, I mean, it kind of all connects. I mean, you hit it on the head. You have to be first intentional, bold. Guys, speaking to all the men out there, pursue your lady. It's not so well. Not in a stalkerish way, not in a weird, creepy way. Obviously, build that foundation like we talked about. Build that first. But then pursue her. I promise you can't go wrong if you listen, be engaged with the conversations. Hear, not just like have a conversation like, oh yeah,
truly listen,
like truly hear and listen to understand them, to get to know them better, and then react off of that by doing other things, trying to show them that you have their best interest at heart, that you want to pursue their time, and really overall just make them feel valued.
And you did that so well. And that goes back to what you said earlier about God did some pruning during our dating relationship, because this is not to say too that your dating relationship is perfect and it's all fun, because if we wanted to do the work for our marriage, to step on a solid foundation to go into a marriage,
hard work.
It was hard work.
It's honestly, I mean, probably the hardest thing I've ever done. And I've done multiple deployments, so yeah.
But the most rewarding thing you've ever done.
Easily the most rewarding. And every single day, it is rewarding. Yeah.
But forming two lives together and loving each other sacrificially and loving each other with biblical love, which God says is literally laying down your life for that person, is the best reward for the work that you will do, because we get to love each other like Jesus and love each other like Christ.
And we're coming in now 2 years married, and people are like, I've heard people say like, oh, almost you guys are just in your honeymoon phase, and but honestly, if you keep pursuing each other, every day is the best day.
Well, and we truly believe that when it's in God's design, it's not like, oh, it's a honeymoon phase that's going to run out. Right. And it's not to say that marriage is easy. Like you said, it's the hardest thing you'll ever do, because it's a literal dying to self every day to love that person. Yeah. But there is a love that is in it, that the way that God designed it, it's so more than you could ask or imagine, because it's so beautiful when God writes your love story.
Ties it all back to more than.
So what are you waiting for? What are you dating for? Define your goal in this season of dating, because if the end is truly a marriage that glorifies God, then the answer is yes, you're ready to date, and then it's for the right reason, and that will fuel your whole dating experience and your next steps. And we're going to break down what that actually looks like, how to date, in our next or one of our future episodes, because we're really proud of the way that we dated, and we're really proud of the way that we got to take a foot into marriage on a really strong and firm foundation.
I apologize, I blacked out for a second. I was just looking. You look, oh my gosh, honey. You look amazing. Sorry, got lost.
Honey, stop. You're going to make me blush.
I'm back.
Oh my gosh. Okay. 2, so we're doing dating, right? Is defining your goal, aiming to be the right person, not finding the right person. And this is an ongoing, constant process of you sitting before the Lord saying, God, you tell me who I am so that I can love this person well. 3 is T, trusting God in the process of the messy, of the dream failing, of having hope that is not deferred, which makes the heart sick, and knowing that, God, I want you to be the loudest voice in my life, even while I am during dating, because he needs to be the loudest voice in your life. And ultimately, that will help you discern who it is you're meant to spend the rest of your life with. And 4, investing in friendship. Remember, this is your best friend. It's a person that will see you when you're on your worst day, your sickest day, morning when you wake up, and you don't look like you do at the end of the day.
I look like this when I wake up. Flawless.
Invest in your friendship, and don't be scared to talk about the hard stuff, and listen to God as he tells you what to share with this person. Don't compromise. Make your list of non-negotiables and make sure it aligns with what God wants for you. Do not settle. Do not compromise your beliefs, and then go for it. Go for it, because the work is so worth the effort on the other side.
And that is how you date.
And that is how you date more than. And so will you continue to go on this journey with us? We love you. We're praying for you. Even though Trevor's not on every episode, we are the ones always praying for you, even when we're not on here, because we truly believe that God has a more than life for you. And whether that's in your dating season, in your singleness season, in your married season. And so will you just follow, subscribe, so that this can continue to reach more people, so that they can live a more than life too. And we are so honored to journey with you along with us, and we love getting to share with you what God has done through our more than life, and we know that you can live a more than life too. So until next time,
this is just the beginning.
This is just the beginning, and this has been more than.
Just like clear the table. Good job. Oh, I did it. How'd I do?